This is Mom Maintenance, episode 17, Why People Pleasing is So Exhausting. You're not a bad mom. Your brain just needs maintenance. Mom Maintenance is a short pep talk for moms who are trying their best and still feel overwhelmed. Today, I want to talk about people pleasing. I have a lot of friends who are self-proclaimed people pleasers, and they really struggle with this. This episode is for you. Because people-pleasing seems like it should make life easier. You think, if everyone likes me, nobody is upset with me, if everyone approves of me, then I should feel secure, right? Except the opposite happens. People-pleasers are often some of the most anxious, exhausted people I know. And I think it's because they're trying to solve a problem that can't actually be solved. For as long as I can remember, I wanted to be a good girl who other people like to be around. I wasn't difficult, didn't want to be selfish, I didn't want to be rebellious, I wanted to be good. So I became really good at figuring out what other people wanted and then becoming that, like a chameleon. If teachers wanted a certain kind of student, I became that student. If I thought church leaders expected certain things of me, I would do those things. In order to be a good daughter, I was helpful around the house. I generally didn't argue. I just went with the flow in order to make people like me. And they did. My family liked me. I had friends. I did well in school. People thought I was responsible. But there was a hidden cost. I got so good at figuring out who everyone else wanted me to be that I never stopped to figure out who I actually was. What did I want? What did I enjoy? What did I think? I wasn't really sure. And this followed me into marriage, adulthood, and motherhood. I spent so much time asking what do they want that I stopped asking what do I want. And I think that's what happens when we people please. We become disconnected from ourselves. We stop trusting our own preferences. We stop listening to our own voice, and we stop believing our wants and needs matter. This especially happens in motherhood because we are so focused on everyone else. And I think this is why people pleasing and perfectionism often go together. Both are rooted in the same fear. What will people think of me? Will they approve? Will they like me? Will they think I'm doing a good job? And that's where the real problem begins. Because people-pleasing is really just trying to manage other people's thoughts about us. We want them to think we're kind and helpful and generous, selfless, good. So we say yes when we want to say no. We volunteer when we're already overwhelmed. We agree when we actually disagree. Not because we're bad people, because we're afraid they'll be disappointed, that they'll judge us, afraid they won't like us. But notice the problem here. We don't actually know what they're thinking. That's why people-pleasing is so exhausting. You're trying to solve a problem you don't have access to. Think about how much energy we spend doing this. Did that text sound annoyed? Why hasn't she responded? Do they think I'm selfish? Do they think I'm lazy? Do they think I'm rude? Do they think I'm failing? Do they think I'm a bad mom? We are constantly interpreting people's behavior and making it mean something about us. We become detectives in our own lives, searching for clues, trying to solve a mystery, except it's a mystery that can't actually be solved because we don't know what other people are thinking. Most of the time, we're just guessing, and usually we're guessing wrong. A few years ago, I had an experience at church that helped me see this clearly. A friend asked if I could help substitute in a Sunday school class with some younger kids. My husband, Ben, had been preparing a lesson for the adults that day, and I had really been looking forward to hearing him teach. But when she asked, I felt obligated to say yes, because helpful people say yes, right? The problem was that after I agreed, I started to feel so resentful and miserable. I didn't want to do it, and I was angry about it. I wanted to hear Ben's lesson, and I found myself getting more and more frustrated. Then I realized something. Those kids deserved someone who actually wanted to be there. Not someone sitting there wishing she was somewhere else. And since I've been working on my people-pleasing, I texted my friend and told her the truth. I told her I really wanted to support Ben during his lesson and wouldn't be able to help. And immediately my brain started doing what people-pleasing brains do. It went crazy. She's going to think I'm selfish. She's going to think I'm unreliable. She's going to be annoyed. She's going to think I'm a jerk. I'd already decided the whole story. But here's the funny thing. None of it happened. None of it was true. She texted back and told me she completely understood. She thanked me for letting her know and being honest with her. I had spent all that emotional energy trying to solve a problem that didn't even exist. And even if she had thought I was selfish, that would still be her thought, not mine to manage. I think this is one of the reasons people pleasers feel so insecure. The more you try to manage what everyone thinks of you and feels around you, the less secure you become. Because your self-worth starts depending on information you don't actually have. You don't know what people think. So you keep checking, you keep guessing, keep monitoring, analyzing. You're constantly looking outside yourself for reassurance. And meanwhile, you're losing connection with the one person whose opinion you actually have access to, your own. I think that's the saddest part of people pleasing. It's not that you say yes too much. It's that somewhere along the way you stop knowing yourself. You stop trusting yourself, and sometimes you stop liking yourself. Because you've spent so much time trying to become what everyone else wants that you've forgotten who you are. What if the goal isn't getting everyone to think well of you? What if the goal is liking yourself enough that you don't need to know? What if the goal is trusting that other adults can handle disappointment? What if the goal is being honest? Because people pleasing is lying. You can be honest with yourself, honest with the people around you. Because real connection doesn't come from people liking the version of you that's performing. Real connection comes from people knowing the real you. The woman who has preferences, the woman who has limits, and the woman who sometimes says no. The woman who doesn't make everyone else happy because that's not her job. So this week's maintenance is to notice where you're trying to read minds. Notice when you're trying to manage someone else's opinion of you or their feelings. And ask yourself, what if I stopped guessing what they think? What if I trusted myself instead? That's all for Mom Maintenance this week. I'll talk to you next time. But remember, you don't need to manage everyone else's thoughts in order to be a good mom.